Good afternoon, good morning. What is it? It's afternoon now.
It is.
I am Lex One here with the Art of Hip Hop, and I'm talking to the legendary photographer, Danny Clinch. Did I pronounce it right?
You got it, Lex.
Awesome. This is an impromptu thing. I have
Yeah.
a couple things I've been wanting to ask you in the event that I ever met you. And let's talk about it. We got a couple minutes, so let's do this.
I think we literally bumped into each other.
Yeah, literally. Literally. I saw you looking at the display,
Yeah.
at the Cey Adams display, and I was like, okay. I kind of was like, ear hustling a little bit, and
Sure,
I
as
heard
we
you
do.
talking about it. I'm like, oh, all right, that's Danny. Cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with the face, but I knew the work. So it's definitely an honor to meet you. And can you tell us what brings you to Art Basel today?
The Cey Adams retrospective. I think it's a Spotify, Google affair. And he's got a 40-year retrospective of his work. I think I've been working with him for 35 of those 40. But yeah, we met back in the day when I was a young photographer, and I was trying to get my foot in the door. I reached out to Def Jam's drawing board, which was Cey and Steve Carr, and was able to bring my portfolio in and meet with them. And we all looked at each other. We're like, man, we're all in our early 20s. We all love music. We love art.
What a time.
Let's get to it.
I don't think you could, in this day and age, do what you did. Like, in terms of just walking into some place and like landing a job that easy.
Maybe it's
Not to
easier
say-
now because you could be sitting in a bar next to someone and whip out your phone and show them your work, whereas I had to knock on doors and go out there and, have a portfolio
It just feels
properly presented.
It feels like not effortless, but it just feels like, hey, I just went and did this, and then
Oh, yeah,
this
no.
happened. Like, I feel like those days it's hard. It would be extremely hard to do that nowadays.
Well, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
There you go. Yeah. What is it saying? Luck is when opportunity and preparation meet.
Exactly.
So, on that wall, you have several pieces. You have
EPMD, LL Cool J,
Heavy D and the Boys,
Redman, Lost Boys, Luscious Jackson.
Is that all?
I think so. That one.
Is that all
Yeah.
you did for drawing board?
No, I did a bunch of other stuff. I did some I think I did Public Enemy. By the time I get to Arizona, single. I did. Some. I can't remember exactly, but there was a ton of other ones, and some people you've heard of, and some you'll never hear from again.
There's one thing I wanted to ask you about. One particular artist, Nas.
Yeah.
You did Illmatic.
Correct.
Now, I'm sure you're aware that that's coveted as one of like the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
Of course.
Like, that is like, what could we compare it to in another genre? Nirvana.
Yeah. Elvis,
right? I mean, how does that feel? Like, most people, especially in this industry, can do a lot of work, but to actually have a classic under your belt.
Yeah, from the get-go.
And did you know that right at that time when you?
Well, shout out to MC Search, who I had photographed with Third Base, and he and I kept in touch. He hit me up and he said, "Hey, I have an artist I'm getting signed to Sony, and I'm going to drop you a tape off to this guy. His name is Nasty Nas." He gave me the cassette, and I listened to it in the darkroom, as I often did, and I felt it. I felt the vibe. Great storytelling, intelligent, very cinematic. I could see the movie in my head.
When was this? Was this 94 or was it a little bit before? Because I know back then you had to have a lot of planning to release an album.
I think it was before that, because was it 93 that came out?
It came out in 94, I'm pretty
94?
sure. Illmatic came out in 94.
Yeah, so probably 93 or whatever. But
So you heard it early.
I heard it real early. Nobody had heard it. I wish I still had the tape.
You heard it with a clear set of ears,
Yeah.
like without any hype behind it. You got
No
to
hype.
form
Yeah.
your own opinion, and
That's
then you thought it was incredible.
That's right. Yeah.
And at that point, how long have you been shooting in the hip hop world?
A couple of years. Yeah, I had done some other records. My first record, my first major label record was a freelance project that Cey and Steve had for Atlantic Records, and it was Lord Finesse, Return of the Funky Man.
Okay, I'm very familiar with that.
So that was the first one. When Search came to me, he knew that my style of photography would fit Nas and what he wanted to do. He, at that time, it was about showcasing where you were from and the stories of your neighborhood and your upbringing and where, and so for me to show up there with a documentary sense of, photojournalism was, I think, important, and it really shows through, and you can feel it. I went to the neighborhood up there in Queensbridge, and everybody was so proud of him. He was a guy who was from their neighborhood, the projects there, who was going to make it out, on his artistic merit. It was very exciting. Everybody showed up in the neighborhood.
Was that your whole concept, like lowering the opacity of the portrait, and then?
That wasn't my concept, and of course I didn't take the portrait of him as a young child. I think his mother took it, but I took the landscape photograph of the street, sort of the vanishing point of the street with my Polaroid camera.
That's a Polaroid. Do you still have that Polaroid?
Oh yeah. Oh. And then also the It Was Written was also, I photographed that as well.
And you, of course, you did the liner notes and all that other stuff.
Yeah. All the inside packaging, we would call it. Yeah.
There was recently a box set that came out that had some of the never before seen photos of that shoot.
Yeah.
Which was really, really awesome.
For sure.
A lot of incredible stuff there. Just that album just kind of encapsulates 1994 or the era that it was recorded in.
Absolutely.
And the photos go perfect with that.
Thank you.
There's another standout album that I wanted to talk to about is Redman, There's a Darkside.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that one? That's such an incredible.
Yeah, that was a great moment for me. Everybody's different the way they roll into a photo shoot. I also did a photo shoot of Tupac for Rolling Stone magazine. It ended up being the cover after he passed away, but Tupac showed up with one other guy, and he was very professional. The camera loved him. He was there. He knew why, and he was into it, and it was great. Redman, who I absolutely love and have since reconnected with him several times. He came with a big posse.
Yeah.
And it was a party. Everybody showed up to my loft, and we did a bunch of portraits there and stuff, and just had basically a party. Everybody was smoking out, and I was trying to wrangle him over here to get some photos and stuff. And then we all got in our cars and we drove into Jersey City, and we did some shooting there. And the idea was to do a photograph that was reminiscent of the P-Funk record, Maggot Brain.
Okay.
And I may or may have not known that at the time. I don't recall. But we were going to bury him. And so we actually, today you just take a photo against a white background and Photoshop his head into sticking out of the ground.
No, but you buried him. That's great. Yeah. Now, did you actually have to dig his actual height, or you have him sit down?
We dug
and then bury him.
Good question. Yeah, we dug a little shelf for him to sit on. Mm-hmm. So it was probably 3 feet deep down to a little shelf, and then another maybe 2 feet for his feet and his legs to sit in.
And he was just super down. He was like, sure.
Yeah, he was into it. He was a little nervous though about being. Once we start, he was all into it, and we put him in a green garbage bag around him, so to protect his clothes and that. And he was into it. However, once we started dumping the dirt on him, the dirt's heavier than you think.
Yeah.
And as it got closer to his chest, and we started filling up his. He was like, oh, okay, let's do this quickly, and
wow, yeah, I could see the nerves. Yeah.
So we were, of course, trying to do our best. So let's keep this thing moving, let's do it. And I had an intern with me on my assistant, helping out with whatever we needed him for. And as we got everything dialed in, I'm just about to shoot, and he could see a little bit of that green garbage bag sticking out of the dirt. So he stepped over, and went to tuck it under the dirt and maybe put some dirt over top of it. And as he stepped on it, the dirt around Redman got tighter, and he was like, holy shit, you're stepping on my shit, man.
Shit.
And it was a legitimate freak out.
Yeah.
And so we had to get it done quick, and we did. The contact sheet of that photo is kind of rad as well.
Were you able to have any behind the scenes shots from that time too? Did you have?
Yeah, there's some. I think I'm in some of them. Yeah, I got to dig them out for sure.
That'd be cool to check out.
Yeah. And I have a lot of that work up. I have we're here in Miami for Art Basel and in this great space. But I have a gallery in Asbury Park.
Okay.
Called the Transparent Clinch Gallery.
And you have those there?
I have those there, and I have the Tupac. I've got a lot of my classic hip hop stuff there, Nas.
Wow.
As well as the rock and roll stuff I've shot with Pearl Jam and Bruce Springsteen and the like.
And there's one more album. I want to talk to you about all of them, but unfortunately, time is not with us on this. But Pete Rock and CL Smooth. What did you shoot for them?
Damn, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Was it Mecca and the Soul Brother?
Yeah.
Their first album. Was it their first album?
I think it was.
Yeah. The Google machines, the race.
That's right. Go. It's Mecca and the Soul Brothers, I'm pretty sure. It's the one where they're holding the records. Yeah. No, it's not that one. Sorry, my bad.
Damn. Is it? It's not this, right?
No.
All right.
It was the main ingredient. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's it.
This one?
Yep.
The main ingredient.
So we can skip past that one. We'll cut that out. We'll do a little editing. I did the Pete Rock and CL Smooth, the main ingredient. And again, it was the era of where we're from. We went into Pete Rock's basement. He had that. I have a really cool wide deluxe photo. When I went on these shoots, and Cey Adams and I and Steve Carr worked on these projects together. I don't know if they worked on this one with me. I don't think they did, but we always. The idea was to give them options. So I would do like a nice classic portrait, real simple, in focus, dialed in, great moment, great expression. Then I would go and do something, just shoot details of the room we were in or the landscape we were in, like I did with the Nas Illmatic cover. That I didn't shoot that thinking, oh, this is going to be the cover.
Right.
It really wasn't. It was almost like a throwaway image in a way.
How much of that was conscious though? Like when you did those almost throwaway shots, was it just like? No. I just did it. It's kind of like a vibe because I feel like when, not just looking at your work, looking at like that wall of work, they all share something in common.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to pinpoint it. Maybe it's just the time, the era, but they all share a feeling, know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an honesty of the imagery, and like I think classic style of photography doesn't go out of style. It doesn't become trendy, Right. And so it feels like it could be a current day project, a lot of times. And options. I'm trying to give the art director options. So I go at it and I'm kind of throwing everything at it. I'm shooting, like I said, simple portraits. I'm shooting details of amplifiers or of a microphone or of a turntable. I'm shooting, the sky, just like here's something that maybe you'll need. Maybe this will go under the CD.
Right.
Maybe this will be where you want to. This has got a lot of empty space on it, so maybe this is where you're going to put the track titles on the back of the record. So things like that. I was thinking about. Yeah. But back to Pete Rock and CL Smooth, he had this incredible record collection. Of course, it's like milk crates, and I shot it with this wide deluxe camera, and it's like one of my favorite images I've ever taken. And they're not even in it, but right on the corner is like Hulk Hogan, like a figurine.
Oh.
You would like that.
Oh, definitely.
And that became like sort of like one of their mascots, where I think he would bring it on the road, and it's something that he always had around.
Technically speaking, back then when you were shooting, in the 90s, I know now like you can go through cameras like crazy. There's one every 6 months, one comes out. Were you just shooting on one camera?
No, I've shot on a lot of different cameras, and that's a great question. Again, as part of the options that I wanted to give people, I was shooting with my Nikons, my old Nikon cameras, the FE, FE2 film cameras. I was shooting with my Leica M6. I was shooting with...
Which is this one right here?
Yep. This is the digital version, the M10R. But I was shooting with the Hasselblad. Mm-hmm. I also shot with this wide deluxe camera I was telling you about. I also used a Polaroid, the old pull and peel, where you could shoot a black and white Polaroid and you'd get a negative. You would take the backs of it, instead of throwing it away, you'd put it in a water chemistry
Never
solution.
Seen that.
and you would get a negative. And then also I did a lot of stuff with like plastic cameras, like the Holga, or there's a vintage camera called the Diana. And
which were vintage at the time still.
Yeah,
right? So
the Diana was vintage at the time. It was for like the 50s, 60s. And as a plastic camera, had a lot of imperfections. Wasn't always in focus, a lot of light leaks. Mm-hmm. If you didn't advance it and you forgot, it would be a double exposure. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I would do it on purpose. I would shoot a frame and then advance it like a third and then double expose over the top, and you'd get like a little weird format.
Any of those albums or anything you could think of that you did that with, like off the top?
Yes, that is a great question. I do know that, like Polaroids, yeah, heavy D. I also did this thing where it's like a solarization, whereas when I did the pull and peel Polaroid, you're supposed to keep it under your arm for a couple minutes and warm it up, and then you'd pull it. Well, I would go to a window, and I would open it after like 30 seconds, and you could see the negative get weird and solarize.
That's awesome.
So I would do that on purpose. That's heavy D Blue Funk. Same with the Lost Boys record.
So the heavy D Blue Funk.
Yeah.
I mean, Photoshop came up in the like mid 90s or like late 90s.
I have no idea.
But okay, but it's safe to say that there was no Photoshop on that,
no.
Right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
So, yeah, but it's interesting. I work a lot with Bruce Springsteen. I've done probably most of his last 10 album covers.
Oh wow.
And he's a very adventurous photography lover. He liked the plastic camera stuff. He liked the weird stuff.
He's the man. Bruce is the man.
Yeah. He also liked the like motion. Like the first album I did for him was called The Rising, and it was right after 9/11. A very moving, very touching tribute to the people who experienced it one way or another, the 9/11 thing, and he chose an image of mine that was basically like a motion-y portrait, which I shot on purpose. I was like, give me some motion. I want to give you something unique. And when he chose that, I was like, wow. Then I realized when you hear the content of the record,
it matches.
Yeah.
That's
and
incredible.
Speaking of Springsteen, I'm actually wearing the Springsteen shirt. I have a brand called Clinch Collections, and it's real simple photographs of mine. I got Springsteen, Green Day, Beastie Boys, Run DMC.
Where was that taken?
This was taken in Switzerland. No, this was taken in Sweden. Sorry.
You said Beastie Boys, Run DMC.
Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Springsteen, Metallica, Green Day, Pearl Jam.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm just trying to, stretch it out.
Dude,
I have the gallery going on.
Doing a great job.
Yeah,
doing a great job. So,
yeah.
Just to wrap this up, where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you, see your work?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. I have a couple of Instagrams. My Instagram professional of my photography is Danny Bones 64. I named it that when I didn't realize what Instagram was going to become. I could have just rolled with my name, but anyway. And then I have a Transparent Clinch Gallery Instagram, and Transparent Gallery website, easy to find. Just Google it. And the Clinch Collections T-shirt thing is Clinch Collections on Instagram and and the website. And that, you can come and see my work. And what I'm most proud of is I certainly am proud of my work with Cey Adams, and that's why I'm here, and that's why we're here. And Steve Carr, Kenny Gravelis, that team was incredible. Damn, I was going to say something. And I'm actually most proud of the fact that my work is quite versatile. I didn't just get stuck in one genre of music, and I've been able to photograph.
You did Nas and Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
Tony Bennett, Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Metallica.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. And you know what? This is all about experience. This is all about relationships. You meet people, you treat them nice, you work hard. You have to have your shit together, and your talent is important. 100%. But it's treating people right and knowing how to get the most out of people when there's a lot of pressure going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Or less. Wait, how was it saying? Couldn't agree less. That's haven't had enough.
The harder
coffee
we
yet.
work, the luckier we get.
Yeah, man. Hey, it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
And we'll talk.
Yeah, man.